it sounds like a lot of, I mean, things that happen in Qigong and things that happen in meditation too. It's like when, and this is the thing that I tell my students, because the students when they start practicing for a while, they start tapping into the divine, and they start tapping into their guides and their intuition, and start to hear insight and receive insight on how to kind of navigate their lives. And the thing is, I keep telling people, and people are like, when you become a clear channel to the divine, you become a clear channel to both light and dark. And it's not to like make people afraid. It's just like, that's just how it is. Like, you have these thoughts that come from light, and you have these thoughts that come from the dark. And those thoughts like, oh, maybe I should drive off the cliff, or maybe I should, when you're when you're on the balcony, or when you're on a high cliff, there's a part of you, sometimes thoughts will pop up like, oh, maybe I want to push this person down the cliff. Like, those thoughts aren't yours.
Yeah, they're getting in you.
Yep. And that's when the darker forces show up, and they start to kind of put these thoughts in your head. And that's the thing. It's like, when we don't talk about the dark stuff, or I mean, more specifically, evil, I think that's, then I think that people aren't well aware or well versed that, oh, that's not me. I shouldn't punish myself for these thoughts. And that recognizing that these are the thoughts that are popping up, and I need to extract them. And it's one of the things that happens a lot with any spiritual practice, any spiritual cultivation. That's just not just psychedelics, but and so when some of my students, they get to this age, this phase, I call it the spiritual teenager. It's like when you know enough to know, and then you start to kind of like question the teacher, or start to question the parents. And so some of my students, they start kind of like, they become more intuitive, and like, they get pretty good. Like, they start prophesizing things and intuiting this, manifesting this in their life. And then you start kind of getting cocky. And then I'm like, no, hold on. You got to test. At that phase, that spiritual teenager phase, that's when both light and dark speaks to the same channel. And you got to start really discerning between light and dark, because the dark gets smarter every step of the way. The dark gets more, because in the beginning, they're just big and bad and scary looking things. And then as you get better, they start to put little whispers in of insecurities or doubt, or maybe that person's going to deceive me, or maybe this, or maybe that, because they're putting these
Start to
thoughts in your
trick
head.
you, right?
Yep. Yeah, the trickery
Games.
gets pretty intense. And so, and I know it because I'm still working on this stuff. I'm human too. I'm still definitely affected by this stuff. And so that's why when I get my intuition kicks in, I always, I tell my students, like, who are at that level, like, I triple check and quadruple check. Meaning, like, as soon as I start getting insight, I'm like, all right, universe, if this is what you want me to do, I need to see it 3, 4, 5, 6 times in this external world, this physical world. Make it manifest to let me know that I'm moving in the right direction. If that's what you want me to do, then make it manifest in a way that happens in this physical third dimensional realm that allows me to know that that's coming from you, and then I can take action. And so that's been working. And then lately, the game has changed, and so now I'm on a new territory. But anyway,